Hello, this video is called Can ChatGPT Help Me with Rust? I'm not going to dwell on ChatGPT because plenty of people have covered that to death, I'm sure. But I just wanted to actually use it as I'm going through what I'm doing, and then we'll just talk about why it sometimes helps and why it sometimes doesn't. So, first off, let me introduce what I'm currently looking at. And this is going to be a kind of a two-pronged attack. I'm attempting to learn BDK, which is, for those of you who don't know, it's as you can see, it's a Bitcoin wallet, which is written in Rust. It's got it's very popular within the community. Um, if you go on Discord, BDK there as well. Steve Myers, if you check him out on YouTube, really cool. So anyway, and also one thing leads to another, which is you. I'm not here to sell the virtues of Bitcoin. Um, Obviously, I like it, and I've done a lot of reading, and I've done my own research. But as I think Michael Saylor says, you need to spend 10 hours than 100 hours, and so on. Anyway, once you get into the rabbit hole, it opens up lots of new ideas and new bits of code that you can look at. And here, let me just give an overview of this. So this is code to create a Bitcoin wallet. So Bitcoin wallet is actually software, software which generates descriptor-based, generate your addresses. You need an address to send and receive Bitcoin. I think it's like an email address, really. You need an email address to send and receive email. Get the idea. Um, this is quite cool because let me explain why I think it's why I thought it was a good idea to share this. This isn't written from point of view of a pure out and out 100% Rust programmer. This is written from the point of view of somebody who's trying to actually build something. It's Pleb Lab, and I think they themselves quite happily admit they're still learning Rust. Um, I mean, if you watch videos by, I think he's amazing, but sometimes it's overwhelming. John Genset, you think, oh, I'm never going to reach that level. So I think Pleb Lab are good because they build stuff, um, and their aim is to obviously get it working and use libraries and so on, but they don't have to go down to the really low level detail, or not on Rust. They're more interested in. So let's split this up. You've got the programming expertise, and then you've got the subject matter expertise. And I think we can all get stuck in tutorial hell where it's create an employee database. You can go around in circles with that for years. I know I have. So build up some knowledge, build up some enthusiasm for your own pet projects. Then you're already familiar with the language that they're discussing. I don't mean the programming language, I mean the actual specific words which relate to the topic which you're interested in. So again, I'm not here to sell the virtues of Bitcoin, but whenever I talk about it from now on, it will just be from a technical point of view. So it is a blockchain, and to make transactions, you need the addresses, and then you need to be able to send and receive. So if I scroll down at the very end, well, this is what I've been actually starting to code, and I wanted to just pause, try and let some of it sink in before I proceed, and then hopefully get it working, which will be future video, maybe. So I mean, even from the first line, looking at someone else's code, I just Jeremy Chone, if you're interested in his videos, he does some really cool Axum videos. You might not have seen him, maybe you have, I don't know. Anyhow, I did a video on that recently. That was brought to my attention by Jeremy Chone. So I've been learning Rust since the start of 2023. And it's time of recording, it's November 2023. So he introduced me to Anyhow. He didn't, not blaming him, but he didn't mention bail. He used result and error. So bail. And in fact, I didn't come across bail until recently when I asked ChatGPT for an example, and it used Bael with anyhow, and then I went and researched. Anyway, again, I'm not here just to go down into the long grass, but Bael is it's almost easier to use Bael than it is to use result and error. Use error. But let me explain. So let's go into open somewhere. Yeah. Explain. It's worth just covering this because anyhow, Bael versus error. Is it going to give us an example of both? So that's using result, and okay. Yeah, so that's the very bare minimum you need to use result with. And then it's bubbling it up, so you've got the question mark there. So it's going to give us an example with Bael. Yeah, so you do Bael exclamation, so that's a macro. Next, an error occurred because of. So really with Bael, you just do the Bael macro with the message in brackets. And okay. Show me anyhow. So with error, turn the error, and then you do anyhow macro with the there, and it bubbles up again. Does it bubble up? I don't think they are bubbling that up there. No, there's no use of the question mark. But that's what it's doing. It's handling the errors. So let's go back to the BDK project. I'll quickly mention while I think about it, I'll quickly mention cold cards. So yeah, wallets are bits of software that generate the numbers. They generate your seed phrase. So your seed phrase is basically a large random number, which is then split into chunks of 11 bytes. In each of those, is it 11 bytes or 11 bits? 11 bits. Each of those 11 bits corresponds to a word. So then you end up with 24 words, which represent a very, 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 very unique number. So anyway, you can run that on a laptop server. So what I'll be writing here will actually be ultimately, well, let me go back. I'm going to be doing this Rust BDK tutorial. Once I've mastered that, then I will go back and incorporate that or the concepts from that and much of the code and much of the crates. I'll incorporate that with Axum. The purpose will ultimately be to have an API which will allow you to create a wallet, create addresses, and create transactions. So if you've seen my red and green site, check that. You'll notice that I've done a few tutorials recently. One of those was explaining, I think it was in this one, tutorial 1. Yeah, so here, I won't talk about it too much because you can come to the website, but if you come to red and green and then go to Bitcoin programming, you'll see it. The Bitcoin Rust code part 1, part 2. But yeah, the idea is to learn enough code to be able to use the Bitcoin development kit and use it with Axum. So basically, that's all done in software on somebody else's ID, i.e. a server. with this cold card, you're effectively running that software, or you're creating. So although this is called a wallet, the actual wallet is software, or is produced by the software. So the wallet is actually a thing in software, and then you've got the keys, which are created inside the wallet, and you get something called an extended key, and then that produces child keys. And from those child keys, you can derive more keys. And there's something called hardened something, but basically you can create future child child keys and like grandchildren keys, but by only needing the public key. Don't Private keys should never be exposed, because that they represent your money, and if they get into the wilds, then you've lost your money, lost your Bitcoin. Right, so this is kind of where I'd got to. So anyhow, okay. And the other thing I'd learned was enum. So I'd kind of had a fair grasp of enums. Uh, One thing which was new to me here was that they were actually using uh, like balance and receive and send and broadcast each then have the curly braces with what I would call key value pairs inside. So that's a bit different to what I'd come across before. Typically with an enum, the tutorials will always just kind of show you enum employee. And then inside there, you've kind of got name, colon, string, age, colon, 32 or whatever. Yeah, that's just like a bit of a different enum to what I'd come across before. So even if you're not interested in Bitcoin, just the actual ideas and the structures of the data structures and this exposes you to will help you learn things which wouldn't necessarily pick up on typical tutorials. So the other good thing is, yeah, the one other thing I wanted to really mention was, let me go down to it, pico-args. So I saw, if you've watched Tim Clicks, love his videos, he showed clap, and I just thought, oh, that's quite a lot of code to just do something which, coming from Python background, would have been maybe one line. So pico-args looks quite good, promising. I'm gonna kind of get my head around pico-args. It's obviously a bit of a, presumably it's a slimmed down alternative to clap. If anybody knows, then, or thinks knows of any other even better ways to do it, then let me know in the comments, and the thumbs up and all that usual stuff. Um, the other thing I think I'm learning very quickly and is that, there we go, there's the Bell macro. The value from string. This was confusing me just now. So where does this come from? This isn't, I'm not going to be able to, I was going to double click it and get it to take me there, but I'll look it up in future. So you can see lots of different, oh, EMV, again, from doing so much Python, I was just always using load.env, but obviously you can load from .env wherever you are. The only slight difference is with Python, you typically would, or if I'm using Linux and Python, I would typically just put .env file in, or I would create a virtual environment, so then it just lives in there. But with Rust, you do need to be careful whether your .env file is available from the target debug directory once you've actually compiled your binary. I won't go into that too much. I did a recent video about 2D graphics where I got into a bit of a pickle with that. So there we go, create a wallet, create a descriptor. The other, oh yeah, while I'm talking about it, the other great thing about learning about Bitcoin is it does expose you to conversion between binary and hex, and as you saw the encoding. But obviously with Bitcoin scripts and the addresses, the um, two. So what way around is it? You've got um, explain. I think I did it in here. Let me just come back and show you. Um, yeah, so I was working with conversion between the seed phrase and then converting it into bytes. So that was Python, sorry, but yeah, you'll commonly, and also the other thing to watch out for is the byte order. Um, big endian or little endian. If you've got a degree in computer science, a lot of this will be probably obvious or um, yeah, you totally know what all this is about. But if you haven't, then I think getting quite or going down into the like lower levels of understanding Bitcoin does expose you to sort of conversion from bytes, random number generation, SHA-256 hashing. Um, that's Python. Let's get away from that. Um, and again, exposed me to. I asked it about the from request trait. Traits. I think traits are probably one of the more mm, non-intuitive. I wouldn't say difficult, but they're not always intuitive to try and get your head around, especially the syntax. Um, and B, I thought, well, why is that B and not T? I still don't really know. I thought, well, where did send come from? And I think if you saw on my code that I had up, send, it's highlighted there. So it's actually kind of been picked up as a keyword. And send is obviously you've got send and receive with when you're using channels. Um, yeah, so that's my progress at the moment. And the other thing I will come back to is Axum. So in parallel, I've been trying to learn more. That's no, sorry, that's not that. Let's go back to the code. And yeah, I've been trying to learn more Axum or go back to Axum. I've done a couple of projects in it. If you're interested, go to findthatbit.com. I wrote the API for that in Rust using Axum with Postgres backend. So yeah, go and look at BDK. I would recommend it even if you're not interested in Bitcoin because it just exposes you to so many new things. Um, even if it's not your bag, it will just probably just stretch your imagination maybe if it needs stretching. I know mine does. And yeah, pico-args, I think that's probably a good thing. So let's just quickly, before we go, let's just ask, let's see if ChatGPT can give us an example of pico-args. Pico-args example in Rust, please. And I know so often it just complains and says that it's kind of got a limited knowledge of it, but it looks like pico-args has been around long enough. I think the one that I and maybe you would struggle with is Axum. It just it's not quite up to date enough with Axum. I guess the more mature a crate is, then the more likely ChatGPT will have uh, enough knowledge about. So pico-arg arguments mute args equal just mutable because it's going to be updated. If args contains h for help name. So I know with clap you get the option of long and short and so on. So we're actually doing well arguments. So we're using arguments there. and then we get args, and that gives us args command name and args opt value from string. I won't start a new project for that, but I was just going to say I was going to, so yeah, H for options. I don't know if that prints it in color. I'm not too concerned about that for now. But yeah, pico-args, again, just by looking at people's code, I think it's really cool. And I will come back to Axum. So just to keep you up to date, Axum is kind of the where I'm going with this. But I just want to try and master the BDK side of it, because then that will be what's actually the handler. You know about Axum. The Axum handler will be a function which will be doing some of these things. So I'll have a handler which can access by the API, and the handler will hopefully get the info. It will do the get your balance, it will receive, it will send, it will broadcast. That's the idea. Whether I get there or not, I don't know. But yeah, just learn about wallets. So if you're slightly interested in cryptography, then Bitcoin's a great way to kind of learn more about it. And there's just so many things which branch off, including miniscript. So Bitcoin's got its own language, or a mini language, which is used for checking the scripts, basically. It's a subset. So you've got Bitcoin script, which is a subset of the Bitcoin core. Bitcoin core is the software which runs on the node. The node is part of the Bitcoin network. You've got Bitcoin network, which has nodes, and on a node you have Bitcoin core software. Inside the Bitcoin core software, you have Bitcoin script. The subset of Bitcoin script is miniscript. So it's a bit like like the Russian dolls. Yeah, you see, you got all this logic here, and then you compile it. Miniscript. The advantage of miniscript is it's slightly more human readable. And then you've got like these functions here. So with the hash and equal verify and check sig. That's the other thing with Bitcoin. You notice there's lots of kind of like check sig and check sum. Lots of checks being made all the time, which is great because that's what obviously gives it such good security. And if you're interested at all, then come across to Discord, BDK Bitcoin Dev Kit. I'm on, yeah, Rust. Got Rust on Discord as well. I kind of have spells of using Discord and not using it, but I probably will try and use it more because it's probably I mean, if you want my opinion, it's 1,000 times better than Stack Overflow, and sometimes there's just so much more up to date, and this was last updated. Somebody messaged an hour ago, whereas even ChatGPT, as we just saw, was last updated in 2022. So yeah, Discord, really recommend that if you're not on it. I'm maybe sounding like an old dinosaur because a lot of these things you might have been using already, but sorry about that if you are. Right, thanks for watching. I'll be back soon.